starving widow let dust-covered Cowboy and his son stay in her barn for one night. Una. The twin suns were setting over the arid plains of Unforgiving, bathing the sky in swirls of crimson and gold. Dust devils twirled across the horizon, carrying the faint scent of sulfur from the distant volcanic fields. In the heart of this barren land stood a solitary barn, its red paint flaking under decades of sun and wind. This was the homestead of Una.HFY, a widow whose life had been as harsh as the desert she called home. Una's husband had perished 10 years ago in a mining collapse, leaving her with only her memories and a barn full of dusty equipment. She survived on a diet of meager rations, cultivating what little she could in the arid soil, always hoping her neighbors, though few, might lend her a hand. Life on Unforgiving was unforgiving, and yet she endured, her will shaped like the jagged cliffs surrounding her homestead. That evening, as Una stacked a few slabs of dried protein meat near the kitchen stove, she noticed a faint shimmer on the horizon. At first, she thought it was the heat haze twisting the ground, but as the shimmer grew, it resolved into the figure of a man. He was hunched over, dust caked on his clothing and boots, as if he had ridden through a sandstorm that lasted for days. A smaller figure trailed behind him, a boy, no more than 10, clutching a battered metal backpack that rattled with each step. Una's heart clenched. Travelers on Unforgiving were a rare sight, and most did not survive long without water. Yet, there they were, approaching the barn like two desperate spirits seeking refuge. She hesitated only a moment, weighing the risks. Strangers were dangerous, especially in a place as remote as hers. But hunger and exhaustion are universal languages, and she recognized both in their gaunt faces. She opened the barn door just as the man reached the edge of her property. "Please," he croaked, voice raw from dust and fatigue. "We just need a place to stay for the night." The boy's wide, brown eyes mirrored his father's desperation. Una felt a twinge of something she hadn't felt in years, a spark of empathy. "You can stay," she said, stepping aside, "but only for one night. Tomorrow you must be gone." The man nodded, relief washing over his features. "Thank you. I'm Yerrick, and this is my son, Kian." "Una," she replied simply. No need for titles or formalities. On Unforgiving, survival was enough to strip away such trivialities. Inside the barn, Una offered them water from a ceramic jug, its surface chipped and worn. Yerrick and Kian drank greedily, their parched throats rasping with each swallow. Una watched quietly as they settled among the hay bales, their clothes streaked with grime from days of travel. Kian's backpack clinked as he shifted, and Una caught a glimpse of strange markings etched onto its metal surface. Curiosity piqued. She kept her questions to herself for the moment. "Where you headed?" she asked eventually, breaking the silence. Jarrick's eyes flickered with caution. "We were running from the Korvax patrols. They've been hunting anyone who carries the Veil of Crystal." His voice lowered, almost to a whisper, as if speaking louder would summon the danger itself. Una's brow furrowed. The Veil of Crystal was an ancient artifact, rumored to contain the power to manipulate gravity and time itself. Legend said it was lost during the last planetary upheaval, and any trace of it was worth killing for. If Yerrick had it, or even a fragment, he was in grave danger. "You can't stay here long," Una said, though her tone was softer now. "The desert won't forgive you if they find you, but you can hide for tonight. Tomorrow, you must leave before the sun's rise." Yerrick nodded again, his jaw tightening. "One night is all we need." "Thank you." As the night deepened, Una prepared what little she had for a meal. The three of them ate in silence, the weight of the desert pressing into the cracks of the barn walls. Kian's small hands trembled as he held his bowl. Una's heart ached. She remembered when her own son had been young, before disease claimed him. The sight of Kian stirred memories she had long buried, memories of laughter and warmth that the desert had stolen from her. After the meal, Yerrick unfastened his satchel and removed a small, glowing object wrapped in cloth. The light pulsed faintly, like the heartbeat of a living creature. Una's eyes widened. The Veil of Crystal. It was real. "You brought it here," she whispered, more in awe than accusation. "Yes," Yerrick admitted. "They'll come for it soon. That's why we have to leave before dawn." His gaze softened as he looked at his son. "Kian, get some rest. We need all our strength tomorrow." Una nodded, but her mind was racing. She had heard rumors of the Korvax patrols, relentless bounty hunters who would enslave or kill anyone who defied them. Protecting Yerrick and Kian, even for one night, was dangerous. Yet, she couldn't turn them away. Not now, not ever. The barn was eerily silent after Kian drifted into a restless sleep. Una and Yerrick stood near the doorway, speaking in hushed tones. "I can help you escape," Una said. "There's an old mine shaft east of here. It's collapsed in places, but it can hide you long enough to get off the plains." Jarrick's eyes widened. "You'd risk yourself for strangers?" Una shrugged. "I've been alone for too long. Sometimes helping others is the only way to feel alive." They spent the next few hours preparing. Una fetched lanterns, water, and makeshift weapons, a few mining tools that could double as defensive instruments. Yerrick examined the items with a nod of approval, noting the practicality of each. As the twin suns dipped below the horizon, the shadows of the barn stretched long across the desert floor. Suddenly, a low hum vibrated through the air. Una froze, recognizing the signature energy of Korvac's patrol ships. They were close, closer than they should have been. Yerrick grabbed Kian and the veil of crystal. "We have to move, now." Una handed him a small, reinforced pack. "Take this. The mine shaft is 2 clicks east. Follow the dry riverbed. It'll shield you from sensors." "Thank you," Yerrick said, gripping her shoulder briefly. "If we survive, we'll return for you." Una gave a faint smile. "Survive first. Then maybe one day we'll meet again." The desert erupted in a blur of lights and movement as the patrol ship scanned the plains. Una stood at the barn door, heart pounding, and watched as father and son vanish into the shadowed dunes. Moments later, the patrol swept past her homestead, scanning and probing, but finding nothing. Una breathed a silent prayer of relief. The following days were tense. Una remained vigilant, watching the horizon for any sign of the Korvac ships. When she ventured into town to trade for supplies, whispers reached her ears about 2 fugitives seen fleeing eastward, carrying a strange glowing artifact. Relief and worry tangled in her chest. They had survived, at least for now. Weeks passed, and the memory of that night lingered like the scent of desert sage. Then, one morning, just as the twin suns crested the horizon, Una heard the sound of hooves pounding against the cracked ground. Dust erupted on the horizon, and she squinted against the sunlight. Emerging from haze was Yerrick. No longer dust-covered and worn, but armored and sleek, dark exosuits scavenged from the Korvac ships they had evaded. Beside him, Kian ran, grinning, carrying a small crate. Una's heart leapt. "We kept our promise," Yerrick said, voice heavy with gratitude. "We survived, and we brought something back for you." Kian set the crate down, revealing a bundle of hydroponic seeds and nutrient packs, the most advanced kind Una had ever seen. These were not from Koroth 9, but from colonies light years away. They could turn her barren land into a thriving farm, capable of feeding not just herself, but an entire settlement. Una's eyes filled with tears. "You came back." "Because you saved us," Yerrick replied. "Because one night of kindness was enough to change our lives. You're part of this now, Una, part of a new beginning." The widow smiled, feeling a warmth she hadn't known in years. That night, she looked out over the plains as the twin suns set once more. Somewhere beyond the horizon, her new friends, her new family, were out there, alive and thriving. And here she was, with hope planted firmly in her hands, ready to reclaim life from the dust and desolation.